United States. The United States was the first country to build nuclear weapons during World War II through the Manhattan Project, a secret effort that brought together scientists from across the world to turn nuclear fission into a weapon. In 1945, it carried out the first successful test in New Mexico, then used atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the only time nuclear weapons have ever been used in war. That moment did not just end a conflict, it reshaped global power overnight. The project was driven by fear that Nazi Germany might achieve the same breakthrough first, which created urgency and massive investment. Once the United States succeeded, it briefly held complete control over this new form of power. That monopoly did not last long, but it set the tone for everything that followed. Nuclear weapons quickly became central to American strategy, influencing alliances, military planning, and global politics. What began as a race to win a war became the foundation of a new kind of deterrence that still shapes the world today. Russia became a nuclear power in 1949 when the Soviet Union tested its first atomic bomb and ended the United States monopoly. This moment transformed nuclear weapons from a single-country advantage into a global competition. Soviet scientists moved rapidly, combining their own research with intelligence gathered from the American program. What followed was the Cold War arms race, a period where both sides built increasingly powerful weapons at an extreme pace. Hydrogen bombs, capable of far greater destruction, were developed, along with long-range missiles that could strike across continents and submarines that could launch from hidden positions. The scale of this buildup reached a point where both sides had enough weapons to destroy each other many times over. This created a fragile balance known as mutually assured destruction, where neither side could strike without facing total retaliation. After the Soviet Union collapsed, Russia inherited most of this arsenal and continues to maintain one of the largest nuclear forces in the world. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom became the third nuclear power in 1952, determined to remain a major force in a world increasingly shaped by nuclear capability. During World War II, British scientists had worked closely with the United States, but after the war that cooperation ended, leaving the UK to build its own program from scratch. Despite the challenge, it succeeded, carrying out its first test off the coast of Australia. For the UK, nuclear weapons were not only about defense, but also about maintaining influence and independence in global politics. Over time, the country refined its approach, moving away from aircraft-based weapons and focusing on submarine-launched systems. These submarines can remain hidden for long periods, creating a continuous deterrent that ensures the UK always has a response capability. Even with a smaller arsenal, this system provides a powerful strategic presence. Today, the UK maintains a tightly controlled nuclear force, built around stability and deterrence rather than expansion. France developed nuclear weapons in 1960, driven by a strong desire to control its own defense and avoid reliance on other powers. After World War II, French leadership, especially under Charles de Gaulle, pushed for a fully independent nuclear force. The country carried out its first successful test in the Sahara Desert, marking its entry into the group of nuclear powers. France's approach was different in that it emphasized complete autonomy, ensuring that decisions about nuclear use would remain entirely national. Over time, it built a full nuclear system, including aircraft and submarine-based weapons, creating what is often called a force of deterrence. This independence allowed France to maintain a unique position within alliances while still cooperating internationally. Today, it continues to operate a modern nuclear force, reflecting a long-standing belief that control over such weapons is directly tied to national power and strategic freedom. China became a nuclear power in 1964 after a rapid development process that began with Soviet support and continued independently after relations between the two countries broke down. Losing that support could have slowed progress, but instead, China pushed forward and successfully tested its first atomic bomb, followed by more advanced weapons in a short period. Unlike the massive buildup seen during the Cold War, China focused on maintaining a smaller but credible nuclear force. The goal was not to match the arsenals of the United States or Russia, but to ensure that it could not be threatened without consequences. Over time, China has modernized its systems, developing advanced missiles and submarine-based capabilities that strengthen its deterrent. Its strategy has remained relatively restrained, often emphasizing stability and long-term security over rapid expansion. This approach reflects a different perspective on nuclear power, one focused on balance rather than scale. India first demonstrated nuclear capability in 1974 with what it called a peaceful nuclear explosion. though the implications were clearly military as well as political. The program was shaped by regional tensions, particularly after conflict with China, and growing concerns about security in South Asia. India chose not to join global non-proliferation agreements, allowing it to continue developing its program independently. In 1998, it conducted a series of nuclear tests that confirmed its status as a nuclear weapon state. These tests marked a major shift, bringing nuclear weapons firmly into regional rivalries rather than just global superpower competition. India's strategy has focused on maintaining a minimum credible deterrent, enough to ensure security without building excessively large stockpiles. This approach reflects both practical limits and strategic choice, balancing power with restraint in a complex regional environment. Pakistan developed nuclear weapons in direct response to India, creating one of the most closely watched nuclear rivalries in the world. After India's early tests, Pakistan accelerated its program with strong political backing and a clear objective of achieving balance. This effort took years of development and coordination, but by the late 1990s, Pakistan successfully tested its own nuclear devices. The result was a new kind of standoff, where two neighboring countries both had nuclear capability, raising the stakes of any potential conflict. This dynamic changed how both sides approached security, making direct confrontation far more dangerous. Pakistan's nuclear program remains closely tied to this relationship, with a focus on deterrence rather than expansion. It demonstrates how nuclear weapons can reshape not only global power structures, but also regional tensions in very direct ways. North Korea's nuclear program began with outside assistance during the Cold War, but it eventually became an independent effort centered on regime survival. The country initially joined international agreements but later withdrew and continued its program openly. In 2006, it conducted its first nuclear test, confirming its status as a nuclear-capable state. Since then, it has carried out multiple tests and developed missile systems capable of reaching long distances. For North Korea, nuclear weapons serve both as a defensive measure and as a tool of political leverage. Each test is not only a demonstration of capability, but also a signal to the world, influencing negotiations and international responses. Its program reflects a unique path, where nuclear power is closely tied to political strategy and survival rather than traditional military balance. Israel is widely believed to possess nuclear weapons, although it has never officially confirmed or denied it. Most estimates suggest these capabilities were developed in the late 1960s, shaped by ongoing regional conflicts and constant security concerns. Rather than openly declaring its arsenal, Israel follows a policy of deliberate ambiguity, maintaining uncertainty while still ensuring deterrence. This approach allows it to avoid direct international pressure while signaling strength to potential adversaries. The program is highly secretive, with very little confirmed information available. Its existence reflects a different kind of nuclear strategy, where uncertainty itself becomes part of the deterrent and where silence can be as powerful as open declaration. Iran is not confirmed to have nuclear weapons, but its program is one of the most closely watched in the world today. The country has developed advanced nuclear technology, officially for civilian purposes such as energy, but concerns remain about how close it could come to producing weapons-grade material. Over the years, international agreements have attempted to limit its capabilities, while inspections and negotiations have tried to ensure transparency. At the same time, tensions have continued over enrichment levels, access to facilities, and long-term intentions. Unlike the other countries, this is not a completed story, but an ongoing situation. Iran represents the next possible shift in nuclear history, showing that the spread of nuclear capability is still evolving and that the balance of power in this area remains uncertain.